What's up guys, and welcome back to my channel. If you've been following along at all on my journey for the last year, you know that I have opened up a preset shop called Very Good Presets, and the link is below. You've probably seen it at this point if you've been on this channel at all. Back in the spring, I released a Portra 400 styled preset. Over the summer, I released a couple of more. Honestly, feedback has been incredible, and just a volume of people that have downloaded Portra 400 or Jupiter has blown my mind. And so I'm super grateful to all of you that have picked up these presets. Again, I don't even know what to say other than thank you, because that is the number one way you can support this channel and everything I've got going on here. And yes, this is a video about presets, but it's not what you think. I'm not here to try to sell you something. I'm gonna share something with you, and it's important. So stick around. Don't close out the video yet. Just give me a chance. Give me a chance at least. Very Good Presets has some really exciting days ahead of it. So we've got another creator coming on board offering their presets as well. Now, this person is phenomenal and has one of the best looks I've ever seen. And so more on that later. Don't want to monopolize this video about that, because this video was about what I had intended to do coming later this fall. And that was to create 3 complementary looks that were more editorial in style, that didn't look overly stylized, but yet could be applied to any photo you shoot in your day-to-day life, where you're not always looking for something heavily graded, but something that still has excellent colors, good contrast, and maybe a little bit of that filmic kiss that we all love, which if you've watched prior videos of mine, specifically the one I'm linking above right now, you'll see some tips on how to edit in a more filmic style. I call these presets EDC, they're everyday carry, and they were going to be called Generalities, Commonalities, and Pleasantries. Yeah, that was the best I could come up with at the time. That was the working names for these presets. Who knows what they would have actually been called, because I've hit pause. Here's why. I spent a lot of time developing over the summer a preset called Generalities. It was going to be the first of the EDC pack. And I love it, and I've been using it on a lot of my just daily photos. Not always not everything's this banger that you want to overly edit for 10 hours. Now this is meant to be a one click, and it just elevates your photos, color grading or contrast or experience, to something that is just really good and stylized. And in honor of my site, I just hope it's very good. But I've got Generalities in a place where I feel really good about it. And then this past weekend, our life kind of hit a wall. And I'm gonna get real transparent with you, and I've processed do I share this information? Of course I shared it on my Instagram stories, because that's where I talk about day-to-day life. And if you don't follow me on Instagram, come follow along, the links below. But that's where I kind of talk about my daily ongoing things we've got going on every day, day-to-day stuff. But here's what happened. Our family pet, which is a little black cat named Crunchy. Actually, you know what? Let me introduce you to him real quick. Okay, so this is Crunchy. Look at where his little IV was. There you go. Look at his cute face. See? Isn't he the coolest looking cat? He's kind of old. Not super old for a cat, but he's 12. Here's the story of what happened. All right, you can go on now, Crunchy. Go on, do your thing. So my wife and I were married in 2010, and immediately we wanted to build our family and start having kids, and a year went by and it didn't happen. And so we were talking to our doctor, and it turned out that we had an issue that was going to prevent us from having children. So we're a year into our marriage. We're trying to process this reality that we're not going to have kids. And 60 days later, a friend of ours was out deer hunting. At his deer stand, he found these 2 little kittens. He brought those kittens home, and in that season of really just longing to love, we told our friend we would happily take one of the kittens that he found, and we brought home a little black cat, and we named him Crunchy, since Amanda's other cat growing up was named Chewy. And immediately, Crunchy was the best cat ever, and he always has been. I'm not a cat person. Honestly, I'm not even a pet person really. But over the last 12 years, this cat is very important to me, and of course important to my wife. Now, the coolest part of the story is that we actually ended up, through a series of fertility treatments and just meeting the right doctors, we ended up having our son 9 years ago, and then our daughter almost 6 years ago. And so we've been a family of mom and dad, Crunchy the cat, and 2 small kids for many years now. Crunchy's always been an indoor cat. He's never had any issues whatsoever. And then last week, he started getting really lethargic. He stopped eating. We were calling the vet. 4 days went by. He didn't eat anything. We took him to the vet. Turns out that he was having an issue not even our vet could deal with. So they sent him to an emergency vet in San Jose. So here's what was going on. Crunchy had an inflamed gallbladder, and next to it there is a mass that could be a gallstone or it could be cancer. They were trying to medically treat the gallbladder, but it wasn't responding to medication for like the day before at our vet and then the following day at the emergency vet. So we get to the emergency vet in San Jose and they give us a quote to do a medical treatment for 24 hours to try to reverse what's going on with his gallbladder, because what's happening is he's jaundiced, his liver's not functioning right, he's full of bile, he won't eat, he's like, even just in the week he didn't eat, he lost a ton of weight. They come to us with this paper, and this is a quote for what they said it was going to cost to do the treatment. And I kid you not, my mind was blown. On the low end, they quoted us $6,616.41. And that would be like if all the meds work great. There's an arrow on this quote and it goes to $13,110.14 if he needed more meds than what was on this list. So already we're just completely floored because they're basically telling us that they need the $6,000, the minimum side up front to even take him. And so we did what we had to do and we got him back there. And later that day they called us up and said Crunchy's likely not going to make it. It's because the medicine wasn't working, his numbers were getting worse, and which they were basically saying that he needed surgery and that the surgery carries a very high mortality rate, and given that Crunchy's 12 years old, it was like a 40% mortality rate. Even if it was successful, there was a 40% chance he wouldn't survive it or wouldn't recover. And they told us the surgery would be an additional $10,000 to $15,000, but they didn't even feel like surgery would be an option. So they told us that they would medically treat him, continue the program, and see if anything happens to change. They basically said if a miracle would happen and he would turn it around. Or we could do the surgery and try it, or we could have him put down, or we could bring him home and let him pass here at the house. So we, of course, were devastated last Friday, processing this the whole day. We told our kids, because we didn't want them to like not know what was going on, and they saw how distraught we were. And it was all just like really sucky day. The following day, Saturday, we get a phone call and the vet says, I cannot believe it, but his numbers overnight went from like about as bad as you could get to almost normal, which meant that the medication was working. Even though it wasn't working a day before, it began to work. She said, we don't know if this is a fluke, so we're going to test him again this afternoon and we'll call you back. So they called us back in the afternoon and they said, his numbers have improved so much. We want you guys to come up here and let's talk about what to do next. So we went up there, we saw Crunchy. He was alert, he was eating, he was feeling good and being his usual self. We brought him home and we've been continuing him on the medication plan, just trying to be good cat parents this week. Of course, he goes back this coming weekend. We'll see if he's continued to improve and if everything's looking good. We'll know in a few days. Okay, so I'll tell you this whole story to tell you that like we luckily had the low end be what was our reality, but it was like $6,000 just dropped on our small little family. But man, it was a big hit. And I'm very thankful that earlier this year I did start Very Good Presets, because what we've made on that site has, obviously positioned us to have some way to bring in more revenue, which has been incredible. But this is where I want to bring the preset that I've made and Crunchy's story together. Rather than sell you this preset, and I was tempted to just rush these EDC presets out. I was like, okay, I just need to wrap this 3-pack out, get it listed, get all the marketing done, get it all ready, and get it live like now. And then it hit me that like we live by a culture of generosity. That is a cultural value in our family. It's one we intentionally choose. Like we choose generosity every opportunity we get. And I'll be honest with you, the biggest jobs I've ever had as a photographer came as a result of generosity. I landed a deal with Target because I gave something away, and Target could have taken it because I offered it freely, and instead they reached out and bought it from me on a contract, and that was one of my biggest deals. And most recently, I did a few model shoots for free because I was learning some new gear and I wanted a chance to just shoot this new gear without it being a job. So I provided these models with some shoots and some stuff for their portfolio. Really cool experience. One of them posted about the shoot on their TikTok, and a company saw that, reached out to me, and that was one of my largest paying jobs of this year. And it was a 2-day shoot, 2 very full days, a dozen models, over 100 items in fashion, and that came because of generosity, because we live a culture of generosity, and we don't do things to get things. That's not what generosity is. Generosity is like a selfless pouring out with expecting nothing in return. So rather than rush these presets out, honestly, I'm committed to not throwing presets together. There's a lot of sites that just throw preset packs together and push them out. Even some great photographers that make really junky preset packs. I am committed to never being that. So I have one that's ready, Generalities. Rather than try to sell it to you, I'm gonna give it to you. If you want it, you can go to verygoodpresets.com right now and download it completely for free. Because I have found that in crisis, if you live your cultural values in the hardest times, it makes it a lot easier to live them in the best of times. Now, of course, on that page, you're going to see an opportunity to donate back for that preset, but I'm not going to ask you for it. And also, I'm not expecting you to. I'm not trying to give you something to ask for something. I want to offer a chance to live out generosity for you as well. And 100% of whatever is given for Generalities is going towards this $6,000 vet bill. So here's your next step. If you are looking for a EDC preset, something that color grades wonderfully and beautifully, has a little bit of a nod to a filmic look, has nice punchy contrast, go download Generalities for free. There's not even an option on the checkout to pay anything. Instead, I made it a separate click, meaning that you have to go back to the page or right click or long click on your mobile device on the page and exit and go to a different link to donate anything. I didn't even want to put it in the process. I know logistically that's probably the wrong call, but I want to make it a separate click altogether, so you have to come over to it very intentionally. This is not a gotcha. This is not anything like that. It's a chance to live out generosity for me and invite you into that as well. So that's it, guys. That's my plea. That's my transparent moment. And this is my attempt to take my love of color grading and my passion for very good presets and give you a tool that you can hopefully use and enjoy and love. If you do download it and you like it, be sure to use the hashtag on Instagram, verygoodpresets, and leave a review on my site as well. And if you are the praying type, continue to pray for our family and for Crunchy. And if you are not the praying type, send those good vibes and energy or whatever. I don't know what the non-praying types do because I'm the praying type. But send it all this way because we'll take it. We'll take anything you want to send us over. Just wanted to say again, thank you to this community. Hit me up on Instagram, links below, my website, links are below. It's all there. Thank you guys for watching and following along, and have a wonderful rest of your day, night, week, or whenever you watch this video.